Today's video is going to be very important to you, especially because I'm focusing on some problems at the SBA for folks who are making payments or having difficulty making payments, and there's very strange statuses that we're seeing on the MySBA portal. Hi, I'm Trevor, the EIDL expert. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind taking a moment, tell YouTube that our videos have value for you and other COVID EIDL borrowers just like you. Hit that thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. When you do that, you're telling Uncle Al, the algorithm, that this is an important video, and YouTube will share this video and our other videos with more small business owners who also have COVID EIDLs. And if you could, please share our videos with your accountant, with your attorney, with your bookkeeper, with a fellow small business owner who has a COVID EIDL. The bad information that's out there, the urban mythology, if you will, is legendary. And people are telling us in our comments here on YouTube and on the 1-hour consulting calls, there's no one else offering the kind of clarity that we offer about the COVID EIDL. So please help us evangelize and get the word out there about this information. We do these free videos to keep you informed, to give you accurate, current, up-to-date information about the program. My partner Linda Ray and I have been helping people with the COVID EIDL program since March of 2020, and we continue to this day with our passion and our commitment to you, dedicated to getting you accurate information that you can use to make better decisions or just simple comprehension about the loan program with this agency, which is practically impossible to deal with. In the last week or two or three, we've done some consulting calls with people, and as part of that, often I will do a screen share. We will look at the business owner's MySBA portal so that I can answer their questions. And one of the things I want to see is their payment history, payment activity, and what is the status of their loan. And I'm here to tell you that as of the last 3 or 4 weeks, I'm seeing some very, what I call muddy waters about a lack of transparency, a lack of clarity about the repayment status of loans. Notably, people who are in charge-off status, who don't know where their loan is in the SBA system, who don't know what they can do, if anything, to try to bring the loan up to date, what they can do if they can't afford to bring the loan up to date and they're just making payments. So one of the calls I did is a business that owns multiple cafe type of businesses, and one of the partners had a triple bypass surgery, and as a result they had to dedicate a lot of money towards medical costs, and revenue kind of dipped for the business. They fell behind on payments. By our estimation, we calculated on the call with that client, probably around 6 or 7, possibly 8 payments they were delinquent. But they've recently undertaken a strategy of sending in a certain amount of money every week, religiously, same amount of money every week. It totals out at the end of the month to be less than the monthly payment that is required. And they are not in an official payment assistance program at the SBA. This business owner is just taking on their own responsibility to just send some money and thinking that, okay, I'm at least showing my good faith attempt to repay this debt. But there's no feedback from the SBA. There's no one you can call, because since April and March, they fired everybody who was on the phone. Now it's all automated. And the status on the MySBA portal for that business says, first it says payment past due, and it says charge-off status. Now last year, when the SBA shipped off nearly 1 million loans to the U.S. Treasury for collections, that complete mess, you could get a clear understanding of your status, and you could call the SBA and ask some questions. Now, you wouldn't always get accurate information in terms of what you could do to bring the loan current or not, because, well, we've done videos about that. That's a whole other story. But it's even worse now because there's nobody to call. And so this business owner, she said, what should I do? Well, so I outlined what are the next steps. I said, if the SBA recognizes that she's making a good faith attempt, maybe somebody will just keep the loan on the books at the SBA instead of sending it to the U.S. Treasury for collections, which the SBA is required to do once a loan achieves 120 days of delinquency. They have to send it to what's called the Bureau of Fiscal Services at Treasury for collection action. The Treasury then adds a 30% penalty. They engage with private collection agencies to manage communications, meaning they call you, the private collection agencies call you, email you, send you letters, put marks on your personal credit report, all of that. We saw it happen last year. And the Treasury gives you a very short amount of time to pay the whole thing off. So you really don't want a loan to go to Treasury. But what do you do in the meantime? And again, this muddy waters, this lack of transparency, I will tell you, I'm having a difficult time guiding folks in this situation. The other consulting call we did was a business that has made no payments for about 2 years. It's like 18 to 22 months or something like that. In the case there were 3 business owners. It's a husband and wife and their daughter. And the father sadly contracted a serious illness and subsequently passed away. And business had not been making any payments. Now, in the case of that business, they're thriving. There is revenue. But she didn't know what to do and could not get any guidance. She has emailed SBA and has not gotten a response. And on the MySBA portal, what it says is SBA uncollectible, which I've never seen that status before. So again, muddy waters, lack of transparency. I'm confused. SBA uncollectible, what does that mean? Is that a charge-off? Does that mean it's been sent to collection agency? What does SBA uncollectible mean? Sometimes the information SBA provides front-facing to you folks, their constituents, their borrowers, in my opinion, that information, those terms, phrases, it seems more directed towards their internal team than towards you, their constituents. I can never understand, I've been saying this for 5 years, why SBA can't just put stuff in plain language that you can understand, like when you get your mortgage statement, or you wouldn't know what your car payment is, or you call your credit card company and you want to close a credit card or get a credit limit increase. I mean, there's steps to follow with full transparency in most cases, not with the SBA. And so what does SBA uncollectible mean? My advice there was, in the case of this client, I gave them information on how to determine exactly to the dollar the amount of money that we need to submit to the SBA to bring the loan fully current and up to date. And they have the ability to do that because there is revenue. Again, the issue was not the business failure, it was that there was a severe family medical health challenge, ultimately ending in the death of the primary business owner. And it's a very sad story. But the revenue is still there, so this business has the ability to bring it up to date. So we did some basic 5th grade arithmetic, what I call the Trevor method math, which I created this formula back during the U.S. Treasury mess in 2024 to help our clients understand how much they needed to pay to bring a loan current if they had the ability to do that. As another element of this lack of transparency, both of these business owners that I mentioned have received what the SBA calls a 60-day letter, meaning the SBA is telling you, it's a demand letter saying, you have 60 days to pay the loan in full or to bring the loan current. I didn't see the letters, so I don't know exactly what the verbiage is. In the case of the business where one of the owners had surgery and they had serious medical bills and thus had to redirect a lot of funding in that direction and revenue dipped as a result, they received a 60-day letter many months ago. But the status on the MySBA portal today says payment past due, charge off. In the case of the other business where the owner became very ill and ultimately passed away, they received a 60-day letter just 3 weeks ago. And so there was time for them to make a payment to bring this loan current. On the following day, I did another consulting call with someone in a situation about payments, and we looked at the status, and again, it was confusing. It said charge off, and the business owner didn't know how to proceed. And in kind of talking out loud the way I am on this video, sometimes, I need time to process stuff when I'm given the data, and then my loan officer value of knowledge and experience, it kind of kicks in like a computer. And I just erupted on the phone with that other phone call saying, of course it's muddy waters, the SBA. Of course it says SBA uncollectible. Of course, this person got a 60-day letter 7 months ago, but it's still at the SBA. And this person got a 60-day letter 2 weeks ago, and they can bring it current. And of course, none of these people have received a letter from the United States Treasury stating your loan is in collection. Of course, there's nobody working at the SBA anymore because Kelly Loeffler fired 43% of the staff. Mind you, this is the same administrator who on day one in her mission statement said, we are going to collect every penny that's due on these loans. Senator Ernst proposed legislation about how, we're going to collect every penny. But then you go and you fire the people who, A, can answer the questions of the small business owners on what do I do because my partner became very ill or my father became ill and died. What do I do? And nobody is sending these loans to the Treasury so far, as we can see, for collections because there's nobody left working at the SBA. So this massive stupidity of administrative, governmental, federal bureaucratic subversion of a vital federal agency that you all need is actually working in your favor. I don't know if I have much more to add to that. Oh, I do have something to add. On the final phone call last week, it was two folks who, as partners, own a movie production company. And revenues have fallen way off, and they're very far behind in the payments. Again, I taught them how to calculate what they would owe in arrears if they had the ability to come up with that money in a lump sum and make a payment to bring the loan current, because their status of MySBA still says payment past due, charge off. They have not received any communication from U.S. Treasury. Okay. And they are very, very far behind in payments. I think something like 24 months behind in payments. But no letter from U.S. Treasury. Weird. Meanwhile, last year in 2024, SBA sent nearly 1 million loans, in my opinion, by mistake to Treasury for collections. Not these folks. Okay, so finally my advice to them was, listen, go out there, hire an attorney, and file bankruptcy, because it didn't appear that they were going to come up with the revenue that they needed in order to bring the loan current. And even if they could, it appears the business is kind of faltering, at least in the near term, for at least another 18, 20, 24 months, where they might not be able to manage payments, even if they were able to bring it current. And the SBA has no facility for you to work with the SBA and go on a payment plan for any kind of reasonable accommodation, which is why you hear me say in these videos often, SBA is not leaving you with any options. Go find an attorney and hire an attorney and file a bankruptcy, because it's a shame that you have to do that. But again, these two business owners, one of them mentioned how she spoke to someone at the SBA back in March or April before the phones went dead, and how that person, she said, listen, we're going to try to figure out how to come up with the money to bring the loan current and get the loan out of charge-off status. And the SBA rep said, oh, well, that doesn't, we can't guarantee that it'll take it out of charge-off status. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? I come from the mortgage lending background. If somebody fell behind on their mortgage and they're 2 months behind, 3 months behind, that person can call the bank right now and say, hi, I had a problem. There was a car accident. I was out of work, but now I'm back. I want to make a payment, bring my mortgage current. I don't want to lose my house. How much do I have to pay you, bank, to bring the loan current? And the mortgage company, the bank will tell you to the penny how much you have to pay to bring the mortgage current. And if you can't bring the whole amount current, they will probably work something out with you if it appears like you're really meaningful in your attempt to make a payment and have the ability. Because the bank does not really want to foreclose on your house. Apparently, the SBA just wants all of you to go into default and throw these loans into the garbage in bankruptcy. Because you cannot contact any of the SBA and say, hey, I want to do the right thing. How do I do the right thing? I know it's a bit of a meandering video here today, not my normal best Trevor EIDL expert self. I'm hoping you hung out with me for the whole ramble because, I think I'm as confused as many of you are, and it's difficult for me in these situations to provide the kind of clarity and of advice and expertise that I'm used to giving you. Hopefully there will be more of this information I can present to you in the future. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the notifications so that you can see those videos when we publish them. And please hit the thumbs up if you thought my rambling, meandering rambles here were of any value. Tell YouTube these videos have value, and they'll share them with other small business owners just like you. If you'd like to book a 1-hour call with me, if you'd like to buy one of our guidebooks, our calendars are open for 1-hour consulting calls with me and my brain, and I promise you I do not ramble on the 1-hour calls and waste your time and money. If you'd like to book that, our calendar's open all day on Tuesday into the evening, and then late Wednesday here on the East Coast for access, mostly for folks on the West Coast. Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Every week, 1-hour calls with me. You will find the fee when you go to the calendar and click through to book the call. If you would like to do that or buy one of our guidebooks, you can certainly do that by going to the description below the video. Click on more with the ... It will open up the description. You'll see all the links. Click through, and hope to see you on a call, buying a guidebook, or on the next video for free. I'm Trevor, the EIDL expert. Thank you very much for tuning in today.